This House believes that education and employment is the solution to torture in Africa. You have 15 minutes. You take your seats.
As you all know, the KDF is the Kenya Defense Forces, and in the first place, I would like to establish why were they in Somalia in the first place. We, as a country, decided to be good neighbors and help out Somalia because the instability in Somalia was affecting our country in that investors, even though we went there heroically and we have achieved most of our goals, this has led to some instability in our own country, which is kind of paradoxical in that we want to establish stability, but in some way we have brought instability in our own country. And also the UN nations and other Western governments are being siding against us because of all this terrorism, and we are losing out on investors and even tourism. So even though this has brought the effects of KDF in Somalia, as we see now, are negative, I say we took a good moral stand and we did our part, and we were good neighbors, and that will remain to be history in golden letters for our country, Kenya. Thank you.
A vigilante group is a group that has decided that the law has not worked and they decided to take it into their own hands so that they can better the society. That's a vigilante group. Simply because the government has not worked in their opinions and the rule of the law of the land is foolish to them. Are you a vigilante group? I'll say I am. Why? One, I have seen it that the reason Kenya is lagging behind in so many things is we do not want to take the perspective of a vigilante group that is taking care of our own things. We want the government to stop torture. We want the government to stop unemployment. We want the government to stop rape. It is time we take the spirit of a vigilante group and say it is on us, and it is us alone that it starts. Sometimes you have to give yourself something that cannot be given by someone else. I've decided I am a vigilante group. I'm going to start by myself. So because I'll not wait for the rule of the law to take course. That's why I'm a vigilante group in Kenya. And we are so many of us in Kenya. Are you one of them? I am a vigilante group. Not that I don't believe in the rule of law, no. But because I believe in myself. Thank you.
My heart wails whenever torture is not treated with the seriousness it deserves. Writings of prominent jurists, which lie in most of our school libraries on the pros of torture, make me wonder when the rain started beating us. I dare say that wrong questions on torture are being asked. Why would you even ask if physical torture of individual is justified or acceptable, and yet the law is so clear about it? Let us remove our academic masks and listen to our conscience, because that is where our sensitive human nature lies. I would have chosen to copy-paste the provisions of the law on torture, but what difference would it have made? We are the only people who can make this world a better place. We need to go back to loving and respecting one another for the simple fact that we all are human beings.
These are the chains of torture. Chains that show my history of pain. Chains that show the invisible scars and the rampage and the devastation that is deep within me. And yet, even with these chains, I seek a future of peace and a future of joy. Yes, I heard them come. They were not sounds of glad tidings. Nay, they were merely warnings, telling me, prepare, we're coming. The things that we will do to you, you will not imagine. So, in the system, I consume all the inputs. You give me resources, you provide for me utilities, and I will only voluntarily pay for those I feel I should. But I will give no other form of output. Therefore, I push the system behind. I am an impediment to sustainable development and peace, only because of torture. And share my ideas, share my experiences, and maybe that will loosen the chains of torture. That is so difficult. Fine. I just want you to stop spending scarce resources on things that don't
believes that education and employment is the solution to torture. Starting with the definition, education. What do I mean by education? In fact, I'll start with the word torture. By torture, I mean psychological development, psychological destruction of people through social inadequacies. These social inadequacies include education and unemployment. We will start a pilot program in our country of Dakar, which will be funded by the UNESCO and will be funded by other NGOs and international first world countries. Now, when it comes to employment, we will look for NGOs. Furthermore, the government with other partners such as the AU will start investing in our growth development. Therefore, we'll be looking at for FDI from foreign investors. Education rate is 70. Illiteracy rate is 50%. Unemployment rate is 77.4%.
We want to make sure Senegal grows. We're not working, okay, for UNESCO. We're working for the Senegalese people. That is the oath that we make. That is who we are working for, not for UNESCO. While we agree with regional partnerships, that is not the issue. The issue is simply this. We want the public and private partnerships, as you unquote said, to actually be public and private, not NGO, not NGO, private companies.
First of all, my role is to rebut, to give you our alternative policies. We do not buy your ideas. Why? It's because you are mocking, you as the Prime Minister, you are mocking our ability as Africa, specifically Senegal. Why do you want us to start borrowing funds from outside? Yet already we have a huge debt. When you're speaking of education, you have forgotten that in the same schools where you want us to take our children, and the same schools where our children are being bullied, you don't have enough funds to retrain these teachers. How are you going to retrain them? Our police officers are employed, they're not unemployed, and yet they are living in disgusting states. I mean, our judiciary is understaffed. Do we still want to employ more people and subject them to these conditions? How do you want us to continue borrowing it? Our generation will keep on paying these debts. You want us to go and start borrowing from outside, yet we have our own natural resources. Senegal is a country which has invested in agriculture. We can use our natural resources to make us get better training methods. How are you going to make sure that this thing is something uniform? Because as I have heard, it's from Africa. Are you going to pass another Geneva Convention or Vienna Convention? Are you trying to tell us that you have that power where that you'll make the whole of Africa to be able to come in this program? The practicability of this is not able.
It's amazing that the opposition government can call us a sleeping government. When in fact their own country, in Senegal, yes, our country, we're already in a 6-leg program which has already impacted Burkina Faso, Guinea, Mali, Nigeria, and Senegal. We have already begun this project already. Because of this 6-leg program, which we have started ourselves in conjunction with UNESCO, what has happened is that 45% of our citizens, of our Africans, as you're saying, have also been educated. 40% of these Senegal women are educated, and we all know that once you educate a woman, once you educate a woman, you're also educating the whole nation. On that note also, we also have grants, and I believe you know the meaning of grants, do you? In fact, it means that you can be given money with no need to repay. Something that we do not have to keep on paying, so that we can also improve our society. Change within ourselves can also impact the whole nation. That is why we have things like, that's why we have organizations like African Union. Do you think it's just gone out of a sudden that I say that we can change the whole nation? We agree as people, we agree as countries that we can change Africa, that we can make Africa rise above any other continent.
I'm here also disturbed, just like our member of parliament is disturbed. The policies amount to neo-colonialism. They speak about public-private partnership, but there was nothing private we had coming from them. We had UNESCO, we had UNDP, We had United Nations. Is there anything private about that? We use Senegalese money. Senegalese money. We are rich, and we begin this by doing the following. One, we volunteer as members of the opposition to cut our salaries by half. By half. Let us unpeg our currency and be independent. Let it speak for itself. By unpegging our currency from the French, this is what will happen. One, we'll be able to set our interest rates. Because the issue is whether we have money or not. Once the banking industry has availed these funds, we will again support the Women Enterprise Development Fund.
Justice, liberty, and freedom is ours to claim. They were arrested and put in prison because they had done that. That is what created Amnesty International. And we are guided by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This year we launched a campaign on torture, a campaign against torture. We are creating a society that should think outside of the box, or just think without making any reference to the box. A society that is tolerant, a society that can engage on debate and exchange of ideas lightly without having to fight physically. It is the society that I'm asking of you to partner with us in creating. So if you don't speak out, like some of you were saying, if you don't speak out, nobody will speak out for you.
Telling you a little bit about Independent Policing Oversight Authority. It is a relatively new institution in our new constitutional dispensation. And the reason why it was established arose from the fact that we've had a history of serious police abuse. That, of course, now led to the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, which is totally a civilian body. Even as we are building the institution, we also undertaken a significant amount of investigations. As we speak now, 2 police officers are in court, having been prosecuted, arising from our recommendations. We take complaints from the members of the public against the police, but we also take complaints from the police against police. We also monitor police operations. The Constitution is very clear, but you cannot limit the rights of a member of the public from being tortured or being subjected to cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment. So there's a bill of rights. These are rights that cannot be limited under whatever circumstances.
Congratulations for taking first place in the Third Human Rights Inter-University Debate Championship. And for sure.
Thanks.
All right, thank you very much.
You know how we roll now.